Hi everyone, welcome back. I wanted to talk to you today about calling your energy back to you. So if you're new to my work, my name is Lisa Espinosa. I'm a spiritual career coach for helpers, for therapists, coaches, wellness professionals, and just anyone who is in a career or even in between careers, but your goal is to be of service, to lead, to inspire, to bring about creative solutions. And I've been doing this 30-day journey here on YouTube for various reasons. Today's day 17. And I do want to tell you, if you missed today's podcast episode, which is also on YouTube, episode 145 is called, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. It's called Inner Children, Allies, Not Saboteurs. And so that whole episode is about for helpers especially, the importance, or more like how essential it is, to recognize your inner children, develop a relationship with them, and notice the ways they might sabotage you, but really then embrace the way that they are your allies. So anyway, you can go and check that out. And I ended it with a meditation. So after that, I've been walking, and we have a friend visiting, so I was just kind of showing him around, which was great. But one thing that I thought about, and this is something that's come up with my clients recently, I know that I've been talking a lot about shedding, releasing, one, because it's the year of the snake, right? And so there's a lot of that archetype of the snake this year, of like releasing old skins, right? Of stillness, of slowing down to speed up. And so I've been talking a lot about that. And what is also equally important, which I haven't talked as much about, but several clients have needed this, and it reminded me like, oh gosh, I've needed this too, is the importance of also calling back to you your energy. So as a helper, you are often, right, you're outputting energy. Now, when you're aligned with your soul, it's not an energy leak, right? It's not that you're with a client and then afterwards you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so depleted, they took so much from me. Now, we all have those experiences, but as you keep releasing old identities, releasing old beliefs about what it means to be a helper, as you strengthen your connection with your energy body, there's all of these practices so that when you're with a client, when you're with your students, when you're sharing your unique medicine, you're sharing it from a place of well-being, of overflow, and that afterwards you actually feel filled up. And at the same time, we are human, and it is essential to have a practice of calling back your energy. And so when I say that, what do I mean? Obviously, your physical body, if you're watching me, right, your physical body is wherever it is, your house, your car, wherever you're watching this, outside. And your energetic body is, especially as a helper, can be connected to clients or students, or even, a problem you're trying to solve. It could be connected to a world issue that you're really interested in or worried about. It could even be just kind of attached to something that's even fun and creative, but your energy is over there. And so when that happens, it can lead to this feeling of ungroundedness, and even like you're not fully in your body. And when you're not fully in your body, you've become very vulnerable to kind of attracting, let's just say, heavy energy. Like we are, even as intuitive beings, knowing that we are actually a soul, not a body, we are living a human life. And so the place where we're the most in our power is in our physical body fully, while simultaneously being aligned with our soul. And so being in our body, but not being bound by it. So knowing also that you're in your body, yet you can consciously and with intention meditate and connect with a loved one, right? Meditate and connect with your clients if you're in a place where you're guided to send them prayers or whatever it is. So I'm not suggesting that you close your channels off and you're like, nope, I'm not thinking of anybody else. But what is important is that it's intentional and that you're doing it by choice. And so I had a few sessions this week already where I always start my sessions with my clients with a really short, like opening little meditation. I mean, it's like 3 minutes long. And it's very, I mean, there's a kind of a format, but it's very customized to whatever client. Just meaning like we start and we both close our eyes and I lead them through it, and I can intuit, where we need to focus on. And this week there were so many that I brought them to this meditation that I've been doing, oh my gosh, for over 15 years, where I guided them to call back their energy. It's like their physical body was here, but their energetic body was leaning to the left or leaning to the right or leaning forward or leaning back. Like I could sense that, because I have a lot of experience, and I'm not only a coach, but I'm also a Reiki master. And so I just have that ability to sense that. And as soon as I said it, they could recognize that, like, oh yeah, I've just been feeling out of sorts or off center. I wasn't really sure why, or pulled in one direction, and so I wanted to share that today in case that resonates with you. And even if it doesn't now, so that you can do this on your own. And you might already have a practice like this, but just, it's always important to refine. Like I've been doing this for so long, and then I forget as well. And so it's very simple. I created this, but I'm sure others did too. So I'm not going to take credit for like, I invented it, but it really came naturally to me when years ago, back when I lived in Chicago, I worked after I left my job as a middle school teacher and started, this whole new career path. Again, that was like, 16 years ago. I started working at a holistic fertility center for women who were trying to conceive. And I was the Reiki person there. And then they asked me if I could lead a meditation class for the women who went there. And so I started there. And then after that, I got a job at a yoga studio. And one of the first classes I taught was a beginner's meditation class. And so really it was in the fertility center and then in the meditation class that I really started developing, teachings to help people, especially people who are not meditators or who felt like I could never meditate or felt overwhelmed by it or would try to meditate and would just feel like, oh my gosh, when I meditate, I feel worse because then I just get worried or I just feel all my fatigue. And so that was kind of the beginning of me really developing a curriculum, so to speak, about meditation. And in that is where I remember in the fertility center, there was this pretty little studio in the center, right? So it was like, there was acupuncturists, nutritionists on staff. It was right next to a fertility clinic. And then there was me, the Reiki department was literally me. And then there was this little area where you could do yoga class or meditation or so on. And I remember sitting at the front, and I was so nervous because it was like I'd never taught meditation before. And these were lovely women, but really, for the most part, women who had never meditated or done yoga or any sort of holistic thing. They just were referred by their doctors to go there. And when we sat and started, I realized that before anything, there was two things I needed to do. One was I needed to teach them to clear their energy. So basically shed, release anything that wasn't theirs, other people's stuff, etc. And we've talked about that. But I also, after that, and this was the surprise to me, I was like, oh, now they need to call back their energy to themselves. And so what came really naturally to me was I've always been a very heart-centered person, of all and I didn't know about chakras till I was, in my mid-20s or something, but my whole life, this is where my heart chakra is very active. And so it was very natural to me. It was like, oh, okay, we're going to visualize our heart as a magnet. And later, of course, as I've gotten more experience and now, 15 years in, I really do know that our heart is magnetic. Our heart center has a magnetic quality. But we can direct it, right? It's like, okay, be magnetic to this, not to that. We can turn on the magnet of our heart, and we can also turn on the repellent at our heart, right? And so this is something I had to learn because, again, as a sensitive helper, as someone with a really big open heart, there was a period in my life where I just was attracting people into my life who just were not really ready for a mutually fulfilling relationship. And I don't even mean romantic relationship. I just mean any relationship where it was really magnetizing to me people who had kind of like a narcissistic vibe. And so clearly through therapy and coaching and all of the things, I've learned, right? I realized that, and it was a lot of different, working with my inner parts, with my inner children, which I talked about in today's podcast episode. And then later, as I developed more of my energy medicine curriculum, because I led trainings and all of that, I was like, oh, I realized, right? I really started talking about these different pillars of our heart and realizing, oh, we have our heart can be magnetic and it could be repellent, and we get to program it with what we want. So in this moment, I am inviting you to bring your hand to your heart center as I am. And as you do that, just set the intention of turning on the magnet of your heart. Literally, you can just say, okay, beautiful soul, turn on the magnetism of my heart. And it is my intention to magnetize back to me all of my energy, all of my power, all of my focus. And what I used to do in class, I'm holding a phone, so it's hard for me to do it right now, but literally with your arms, just imagine like you're like, I don't know if I can show you, like you can call back to you, like with both arms, call back to you that energy. And what's really interesting is as you do this, you might become aware of like, oh, yep, wow, some of my energy is attached to my children because it's worried about my kids, or, oh, some of my energy is like still with some of my clients. Oh, some of my energy is like distracted by this one problem. And I want to be clear, because I remember doing this, and a lot of times my students would be like, well, I'm a mom, I love my kids, I want my energy to be with my kids. And this is different. These are what we're dissolving as we do this is attachments, is a way that energy being with them is actually an energy leak on you, and it's not helping them. So call back all of your energy, because as you do that, then you're fully in your body, your physical body, your emotional body, your energetic body, your mental body. And from that place, you can download inner guidance, wisdom from your soul. And from that place, then you're guided to whatever, to send love and blessings, prayers, intentions, healing to whomever you decide to. But that's very different than unconsciously. It's like having your energy spread out and scattered. And this includes the collective. Like if you're someone who watches the news a lot, or just very concerned about, as many of us are, right, about global events or what's happening collectively in your country or in your city, you want to make sure that you do this as well. That your energy, you call it back to you. And if this brings up any feeling of like, oh, I'm being selfish, this is wrong, that's the martyr helper identity, right? That's a thought error. We're not talking about becoming narcissist or becoming selfish or self-absorbed. This is about alignment, becoming so aligned with your soul, prioritizing that over everything, because from that place, then you can truly help others. All right, so again, you will just bring your hands to your heart, turn on that magnet of your heart, call back all of your energy, and as you call it back, notice if your soul gives you any insights of like, oh wow, my energy was just kind of stuck there. Call it back, call it back, call it back, and you can use movement if that's helpful. And let yourself really become familiar with how it feels to be fully in your bodies, right? Because we don't just have a physical body, we have a mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. And then ask your soul to fill you up and say, beautiful soul, increase my capacity to hold your light. Increase my capacity to hold your light. Increase my capacity to hold and radiate your light. And that can be increased only when we're fully present. All right, so I'm going to stop there. I hope this was helpful. I will see you tomorrow for day 18, I believe. Go back and watch that podcast episode. And I just opened slots for November for free sovereignty consults. If you want to schedule one, I would absolutely love to connect with you. All right, bye everyone.